Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My mom recently passed on. She was my best friend and confidant. I love and miss her so much, it hurts too much to know that she has gone. She left an inheritance for my siblings and me. To be honest, I didn't care much for it, and I would rather she be here with me than have some property for an inheritance. She often told us the story of how she met the love of her life. She loved him so much, and I happened to be the result of their love. They had many practical issues and couldn't work it out, so she married the more practical one. It was safer and more comfortable for her. She said she needed security rather than excitement and love. It was easier to not tell him that she got pregnant, so she kept it to herself. Before she did, though, she helped me locate my father and gave me a letter for him. If this were a romance movie, they could have met up and she would have been miraculously healed. But it's sad that this is my reality. My siblings think that she always treated me differently and loved me more than them. They, finding out about my dad, gave them more reason to think that. I would admit my mom could have treated me like her favorite sometimes, but that wasn't enough reason for my siblings to hate me. I think what's happening this time is that they think I would get most of the inheritance. So they want me to be miserable and to go for it. Though I may not care much for material things, I love my mom so much and I'll keep anything to help me stay connected to her. If there is one mistake I can admit I made, it is marrying my husband. He and I were direct opposites. We didn't like the same things or have the same values. Formerly, I had thought that opposites attract, but it's not so fun now when our ideologies are very different. We can't seem to agree on any major decision, which is sloppy for a 5-year-old marriage. I wish I could experience the love that my mom and dad experienced. For once in my life, I want to let go and be loved deeply by someone. Someone who compliments me and takes care of me, not only as a sense of duty, but because they love me. I know you're thinking about that girl, you're married. I know that. But I'm not happy in my marriage, and I am really trying my best to see how we can work. The last couple of weeks has been crazy. My siblings have been fighting me. At this point, they would do anything to make sure I don't get an inheritance. The lawyer called me to let me know because he owed it to my mom and because she had warned me about it. He told me that my mom trusted me the most with her assets and knew that I would be the best person to maintain her legacy. That's so much responsibility on me, but with everything happening, I know my siblings can't handle it. It's sad, but it is the truth. On the day we were supposed to know what each of us got from my mother, I caught my husband passionately kissing my sister. There was no remorse. That stung and still stings. She made a remark saying it was high time the cat came out of the bag. This means they had been having an affair for a while. My head spun round and round. I stayed for the hearing, and of course, I got the most important of all my mother's properties and had the most control. It caused a big fight between my siblings and me. I have 3 siblings, and all of them were against me. With all that had happened that day, they were the least of my worries. I expected an explanation from my husband, but didn't get one. He didn't come home that day. I knew we had a lot of issues in our marriage, but having an affair with my sister was too far. I know I said earlier that I wanted to experience love like my mom did, but I never thought this was how it would turn out at first. I spoke to my lawyer about finding someone who could help me with my divorce. It's in times like this that I miss my mom. She always knew what to do and what to say to calm me down whenever I was panicking. This was one moment, but she wasn't there. She gave the wisest and best advice, even when you didn't agree with her. She always ended up being right. I got in contact with the divorce lawyer and served my husband the papers. It's been weeks since he has been home, so I thought it would be an easy process, but he won't sign the papers. My lawyer tried to get a hold of him several times, but he somehow keeps slipping away. I wonder if he changed his mind, but it's too late now because I gave him time to come to me to explain himself, even though I didn't need it. I caught them red-handed, but I was willing to listen to him. I waited for an apology, but got none. It was as if he disappeared. For me, it meant that he had made his choice, and that person was not me. It hurt badly because I had built a life with him, even though he wasn't the love of my life, and we had so many issues in our marriage. He came home yesterday and he looked so unkempt and tired. He tried to sweet talk me and be all lovey-dovey with me, but it just irritated me. I asked him why he won't sign the divorce papers, but he avoided my eyes and my questions. I demanded answers when he said he still loved me and wanted us to work. Oh my God, did I give him something to think about? I told him that he was the most selfish person I had ever met. Did he think that he could go about gallivanting with my sister and could come back to me whenever he wanted? He also sided with them when they fought me for the inheritance. If anyone was to be on my side, it was supposed to be him, but he broke my trust. I let him know that our marriage had slowly been dying for years, but I was holding on and hoping for a miracle. But now there was no going back. Did he even think about our kids and what his actions would do to us as a family? Knowing him and knowing my sister, I suspect that she made him think she was going to get all the money, so he followed her to get a piece of it. I was right. My sister had shamelessly said it, and she said to thank her for saving me from my marriage. She mentioned how easy it was to seduce my husband to be on her side. He just wanted the money, and since he learnt she was the one who would control most of it, he decided to be with her, and I was collateral damage. She said she didn't like him like that, and I was free to have him back. I felt so insulted, but I wasn't going to stoop to her level. She said all of those things to get a reaction from me, and I wasn't going to let her have it. Update 3. I asked him to leave our house until we sorted everything with the divorce. I wasn't changing my mind, not after I heard the real reason he wanted to be with my sister. He was shocked when I confronted him about it. He didn't deny it, and all he could say was ask, who told me? How did I marry this man? How did I marry the wrong person for me? There were times when things were good, but it all took a downward turn a few years after our marriage. I told him that whatever hope he held on to that I would decide not to get the divorce needed to be given up. I wasn't changing my mind. He finally signed the papers, and we got divorced. My daughter asked me where her daddy was, but I was speechless. What could I possibly tell her? I decided that I was going to do what my mom wanted me to. I'll take control of her estate. I believe that it would help me find a new purpose and keep me grounded because I was shattered on the inside. My siblings were disappointed to see me take it up. They had thought since I was successful at my own business, I would let them handle it. Jokes. I wasn't going to let them destroy my mom's hard work, and since they made me feel like an outsider, I was going to make it my superpower. They don't know what's coming for them. As for my sister, she worked with my mom, which is why she probably thought she would be the one to handle it. If she didn't betray me, we would have worked something out. However, she is on a very thin thread. Any little mistake she makes and she is out of the company. She and my siblings still gang up against me, but I don't care. I'm beginning to enjoy my newfound wisdom. My grandma, who lived far away, came to try to fix us, but it didn't work. There was no fixing anything with my sisters. We were already dysfunctional, so there was no point crying over spilt milk. My mom had this allowance for all her kids, and I'm going to keep doing that just for my mom's sake. That would be the only thing that would connect me with my siblings. They were toxic people and have hurt me too many times to count, so I decided that I wanted no interactions with them. As far as I was concerned, my family was my mom, and she was gone now. NTA, your husband doesn't deserve you. It's crazy what people can do, all because of money. To think that your sister didn't even like him. That is so evil. Well, she saved you from an unhappy marriage. NTA, I can't believe your siblings. It's how people feel entitled to their parents' money that baffles me. Go and work for your own and let your children get something from you too. So I, 14, female, have lived with my brother, Max, 29, male, for 8 years. I moved in with him after my mom died. Originally, my dad, 50, male, was supposed to take me in, but he couldn't because he had a new family and didn't want me staining his perfect life. When I was 11, he reached out to me over Facebook and started forming a relationship with me. Long story short, I cut him off after I found out his reasoning. His daughter, my half-sister, Ella, 9, female, needed a kidney transplant. Apparently, I was now my father's hero and greatest treasure. I don't know the full story, but I do know that Ella did end up getting a transplant and survived. My dad reached out a few more times over the years, mainly to scold me for not trying to be in his life or accept him as my father and his wife as my mom. Anyway, about 4 months ago, I got a call from my dad's wife, Lola, telling me that my dad had passed away and how I needed to be at the funeral, which happened yesterday. I didn't go. As cruel as I may sound, I feel no love for my dad. He was never there for me and has proven over and over that he's never had a want, need, or reason to be in my life. To me, he's a sperm donor. I do feel guilty for this, as, he's my dad and I'm supposed to love him, but the truth is that I don't. So this morning, I got another call from Lola telling me I'm an awful daughter and my dad never deserved what I'd done to him. She said her and Ella would never forget this and that I'm a pathetic excuse for a daughter. She also insulted Max, calling him a bad influence, a child, and an enabler. I responded by saying that if my pathetic excuse of a father couldn't be bothered to be in my life, I would not be involved in his. I told her that my father may be physically dead now, but to me, he always has been, and she has no right to come at me for any choice I make, as she's not my mother. Then I hung up. Since then, my dad's family and Lola's have been calling and texting me about it all, and I'm so overwhelmed. Max says I did the right thing, but I don't know. I yelled at a grieving woman who just lost her husband, and I feel terrible. AITA? NTA. He donated sperm and expected you to donate your kidney. He wanted a transactional relationship, not a parent-child relationship. His wife may be grieving, but she is an adult who does not get to take out her grief on a child. Suggest to her and the flying monkeys that if they didn't like what you said on the phone, then they should be grateful you didn't attend the funeral. Imagine the scene you could have made there. LOL. I don't actually think you would have, but maybe it'll get them off your back. If not, harassment charges are always an option. I know that sounds extreme, but you are a minor. not an emotional punching bag. You deserve better. I'm sorry your father was such a disappointment, but I'm glad you have your brother. Stick with him. NTA. He only contacted you when he needed something for his other daughter, not even because he was interested in you and your life and wanted to actually be a father. You told Lola the truth. People tend to dislike the truth if it isn't in their favor. You could send out a mass text telling them that you were not present at his funeral simply because he wasn't present in your life, only when it could benefit him and his other family. Tell him what you told Lola. Tell them that if they really wanted you present at his funeral, then they should have kicked his behind years ago and told him then to be a decent father. NTA, you don't owe anyone your presence at his funeral. And as you said, he wasn't there for you until he ended up needing something from you, which was downright disrespectful, especially considering he refused to step up and parent you when your mother passed away. As you said, he wasn't anything to you other than a donor. As for his wife, parents, and anyone else in his family who abuse you, ask them all where were they and why didn't they step up for you when your mother died. Then calmly and firmly tell them that they aren't your family, as they made that crystal clear, and that they are just as bad as he was, and you don't have any room in your life for them or their shit. And if they don't stop the harassment of you, then you will report them to the police. Block them all. My husband and I have 3 daughters, Phoebe 21, Maddie 18, and Lily 16. My husband spoils Lily. We've fought over it many times, but he still does it. The example relevant to this story is that Lily wanted a dog in April 2020. Phoebe and I didn't want a dog. Maddie couldn't care less. Beginning of July 2020, my husband came home with a little Pomchi puppy, Charlie. Lily adored Charlie and took great care of him for around 3 months. Then she decided dogs are too much work, and she wanted a cat. We had a cat, Duncan, by Christmas. Then Charlie couldn't sleep in Lily's room because Duncan was sleeping there. Lily stopped walking Charlie because Duncan doesn't like to be alone, and she stopped playing with him. Phoebe became attached and let Charlie sleep on her bed. She started taking him on his walks. She cooks for him, buys him new treats and toys, and handles all his vet and grooming appointments. Hell, she even takes Charlie to work with her at least once a week. Phoebe just graduated and is planning on moving out. She planned on staying near us because she wanted to be near Charlie, but we live in an HCOL area, and she'd struggle here, so I told her she can take Charlie. She came to me the other day and said she found the perfect apartment for her and Charlie. It has a low pet rent. There's a back patio connected to what would be her apartment. The building has its own dog park, and her friend, who is currently living there and needs a roommate, works from home and would be able to take Charlie out and play with him while she's at work. I told her it sounds great and that I'm happy for her, but Lily asked what makes her think she can take Charlie. I said I told her to take Charlie because she's the one that takes care of Charlie, and Charlie is very attached to her. Lily got mad and said I have no right to tell anyone that they can take her dog, and my husband is on her side. AITA? NTA for letting Phoebe have Charlie. And it's not just because Lily needs to learn that animals are an ongoing responsibility. It's because leaving Charlie in a house where he is ignored and not taken care of would be cruel. Charlie is a living creature and deserves the best life possible. He and Phoebe have bonded. Phoebe takes good care of him. He's happy and healthy with her. And if he's left with Lily, what would happen to him? Honestly, how good would his care be? Left alone in the house, not taken for walks, not given any love or training or attention? Lily has to understand that this isn't about her, it's about the dog. She needs a wake-up call, and hopefully this becomes one for her. If not, honestly, I worry about the kind of adult she will grow into. NTA, If she wants Charlie, she can start doing all the work that's required for him. Pets are not a right, they are a privilege, and your husband and daughter have failed to realize that. Charlie is a living, breathing being who deserves the best quality of care. I suggest you make a list of all tasks associated with Charlie: grooming, vet, walks, food, toys, and their price points, and hand them to Lily. Explain that this is what it costs to have Charlie, and that you and your husband and your oldest won't be paying for this any longer, and that it's up to her to get a job and be responsible for Charlie. That dog is not any toy that can be bought and played with until the shiny new toy comes along. NTA, here's your script. Lily and husband, you stopped taking care of Charlie at all 2 years ago. You didn't feed him, didn't walk him, didn't play with him, didn't clean up after him. Phoebe did all of that. She also handled all his vet and grooming appointments. That's what a dog owner does. Now, this can go two ways. We can acknowledge that Lily abandoned ownership of Charlie when she got Duncan the cat, and let Phoebe take the dog she has been responsible for 2 years with her. Or if you want to argue that Phoebe has merely been pet sitting, you will need to pay her what she is owed. On average, pet sitters make $30 a day. At that rate, over 2 years, you owe Phoebe $21,900, plus all expenses she paid for vet fees, grooming fees, toys, food, and supplies. Let's round up to $30,000. What's it going to be?